Okay. So for today's topic, we're going to discuss the three types of control structures in Python. Actually, this control structures is also very much present with different programming languages. So you have already encountered it in your other programming language subject. So as promised class, since there had been some changes with our syllabus, so I will have to discuss in full detail the different control data structures in Python. Okay, so we have three. The first is the sequential, selection, and iteration or repetition. Now, the graphical representation that you see here, class, best describes how the code inside a Python compiler would behave if sila ay under sequential, if sila ay under selection, or if sila ay under iteration or repetition. Okay, so as you can see, this one is presented in the form of flowcharts. So, sequence. So, the simplest structure class statements are executed sequentially in order in which program they appear. In order in which they appear in the program. So, si sequence yung pinaka-simplest structure natin. Bakit po? Kasi once na nag-start siya, nag-run na siya at execute, na i-fill up nyo na yung mga conditions na hinihingi niya if meron man, then it will proceed running the program, and then you'll get the answer. Now, if you want to start again, you have to run and execute it. You cannot go back. Walang settings para bumalik mismo dun sa code without having to run and execute the code again. So, this is the sample flowchart representation of the sequential program in Python. So, wala tayong nilagay lang na start tsaka end or begin or end. So, understood naman na yun. So, importanteng parts ng flowchart nito yung nilagay. Ayan. So, please enter 3 numbers. So, nasa nyo? Nandito. Kasi ito class program na to, it asked for us to enter our height in feet, our height in inches, and then our weight in kilogram. So that it could compute the body mass index. So, hindi na tayo makakabalik as you could see class. So, meron tayong input dito. So, once na naibigay na natin yung hinihinging value, it will proceed to the process section in which it will compute the following given values na binigay mo previously dito sa tatlo na to. And then, once that it have successfully computed the values, it will now print that your body mass index is blank. Ayan. So, kung ano man yung makukompute niya. So, isang sequential lang siya kasi once that it serve its purpose, tapos na yung program. If gusto mo ulit i-compute, you have to run and execute nga yung program na yun. Kaya siya under ng sequential. So, selection naman, selection structure or decision, also known as decision or control, provides a choice between two alternative paths depending on the result of the condition. Class refer to the graphical representation of this one or the flowchart. So, we have to declare the condition inside this. And after declaring the condition, we are presented with two choices, true or false. Whatever you choose between the condition will result to the final output. In this case, simple lang to kasi gusto lang natin i-present how selection structure works. Okay, so Python conditions and if statements. Of course, since we're talking about selection structure, we're mostly gonna be tackling about Python conditions and the if-else statements, the nested if-else statements, and so on. So here are some examples of relational operators. Just a review or recap because I'm well aware that you have already tackled this topic in your previous programming languages. So it will be easier for you to compute the activity that I will give you later. So we have the equal, not equal, less than or equal to, greater than or equal. And also we have the simple if-else statement. Here are the examples. Ayan. And a few activities that I might also give you on our asynchronous learning mode. Nested if-else. So those are the commonly used for our structures. Okay. Okay, class. So, since I have already introduced to you the topic about the different control structures we use in Python, which is three. So, we have sequential, decision control structures, and iteration or repetition structure. And I have briefly discussed each of them. Now, we will try to discuss them in depth. So again, this is a pre-recorded video discussion. So as much as possible, I try to make it as short as possible, the discussion. Okay, so Python again has three types of control structure. Sequential, ito yung default mode, kadalasan, or it is the simplest form, kagaya nga nung sabi natin do sa previous slide. Selection, this is used for decisions and branching. Ang pinaka-common or basic na ginagamit natin for selection is the if-else condition. And then we also have the repetition, or also known as iteration. They have the same meaning. So it is used for looping, repeating a piece of code multiple times. So lahat nito naman na-encounter nyo na class, right? So what are arithmetic operations? So we often use arithmetic operations or combined arithmetic operations inside our Python, depending on what we're going to use na control structures. Pero lahat naman sila merong element nito. So, arithmetic operators are used to perform mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So, you have already know what is the plus sign, the minus sign, the multiplication sign, the division, and then the modulus. So, si modulus again class is the remainder of the division of left operand by the right. So, yun yung sagot pagka nilagay natin or ginamit natin si modulus instead of division. Ito namang isa, we're not very much familiar with this one. This one is called the floor division. So, this division results into whole number adjusted to the left and right in the number line. And yung dalawang asterisk is exponent, ang ibig sabihin. So, left operand raised to the power of the right. So, sequential. So, we're going to tackle again sequential statements. Sequential statement class, I'm just going to read this one, are a set of statements whose execution process happens in a sequence. The problem with sequential statements, however, is that if the logic has broken in any one of the lines, then the complete source code execution will break. So, ito yung sample nun class. So, this is a sequential statement. For example, we have two variables, A having a value of 20 and we have another variable 10 having a value of 20. And then we assign another variable C which has the value that will operate those two latter mentioned values. Like for example, A minus B. So what is 20 minus 10? And if we print it and we call C, then the answer would be 10. Okay? Okay? So, yung A, automatic na ang value niya ay yung nauna dito. So, selection or decision control statements naman class. In Python, the selection statements are also known as decision control statements or branching statements. Now, the selection statements allows a program to test several conditions and execute instructions based on which condition is true. Now, some decision control statements are in the form of simple if else, nested if, or if else. So, simple if. If statements are control flow statements that help us to run a particular code, but only when a certain condition is met or satisfied. A simple if only has one condition to check. So, this is an example of this one. So, for example, you have declared your condition inside this. And meron lang tayong dalawang pagpipilian. If the condition is false, then it will just stop. Kasi wala tayong ibang nilagay na iba. If the condition is true, then it will run the conditional code. Usually in the form of string. Kunyari, do you want pizza? Then the correct answer is yes. If you choose yes, then it will print, here's your pizza. But if you choose no, then it will just run because you did not set another condition for that another answer. Isang simple if lang. Okay? So technically class, if hindi na met yung conditions kay simple if statement, then it will automatically stop the program without any warning. But if na-meet yung condition kay if statement, then iraran niya yung conditional code na sinet mo. So here is an example of that. So we have a variable n, which has the default value of 10. So if we add the if condition n, and then we add a operation like this one that you see here, and then if we print it, n is an even number. If that is true, it will print the answer. If not, wala. Kusa lang siya mag-i-stop kasi wala tayong sinet na statement. So doon naman papasok si if else. So in this example, 10 is an even number, therefore it returns the string or conditional code na n is the even number. So if else naman class, the if else statement evaluates the condition and will execute the body of if the test condition is true. But if the condition is false, then the body of else is executed. So here is the sample flowchart of the if-else statement. So we have the expression or the condition on this one. So halimbawa, true yung condition mo. So meron kang sinet na halimbawa, do you like pizza? Ang question ay yes or no, or true or false. If you add, if you choose yes or true, then it will run here's your pizza. So meron kang ini-state na condition sa if. If you choose false or no, then it will run you don't get a pizza. So meron tayong ipapakita na conditional code. Hindi siya kabud mag-execute and then mawawala yung program pag mali yung condition. So meron siya ipapakita. So yun yung gamit naman ni if else. So here is an example. So dito rin same code as before. So we want to determine whether a particular number or value of the given variable is an even or an odd number. So kanina even lang yung condition. Pero ngayon, what we're going to do is we're going to determine whether it is even or odd number. So we have a variable n with a value 5. So if we write the if condition first, this function class determines whether it is a even or odd. So once na hindi siya pumasok dito sa if statement, it will not, lalagpasan lang niya yung n is even. Pupunta siya sa pangalawang statement, which is sa else statement. And then, once na meet niya yung category ni else, ang ipiprint niya ay n is odd. So therefore, the answer is n is odd. Okay? So merong hindi siya kabud mag-stop na execution kasi merong pangalawang choice. If no or the other way around yung pinili mo. So nested if naman. So nested if statements are in if statement inside another if statement. So this is the sample of that. So we have the if test condition. So this is the start. This is the graphical representation or the flowchart. Sample flowchart of a nested if else. So meron tayong condition class. So for example, we have set another condition. So if you choose false, it will halimbawa, you like pizza. Ito yung condition natin. If you choose false, it will execute a statement na okay, you do not get a pizza. But if you answer true, and then it will print another condition. So hindi pa tapos. Kunyari, yes, you like pizza. So here's your pizza. How about for the toppings, what would you like? So, ayan, may another condition tayo sa loob. Do you like mustard? For example lang class yun yung naisip ko agad. So, if you choose true, here's your pizza with mustard. If you choose false, here's your pizza without mustard. Okay? So, ganun yung simple analogy ng nested if or nested if else. So, here is an example. Okay, so we have, continuing where we left off, we have three variables, A with a value of 5, variable B with value of 10, and variable C with a value of 15. So, as usual, within, we always start with the if condition. So, in the first condition, we have A is greater than B. So, we have two choices. So, the first one is, if this is correct, then it will print A value is big. If it states otherwise, then it will print C value is big. Since A is equivalent to 5, so basically, and B is 10, so basically it would be 5 is greater than 10, which is false. So, the first condition is wrong. So, pupunta tayo sa else condition, sa first else condition natin, which is C, value is big. So, afterwards, it will then move on to the next equation or next question. So, L if. So, next naman is 10 is greater than 15. So, the answer, class, is false also. So, it will not print B, value is big, but instead, it will print the last else condition, which is C is big. So, I have tried running this in my Python compiler. However, I encountered lagging issues whenever I try to record it using OBS. Next condition naman, class, is the if-elif statement. Now, the if-elif statement is used to conditionally execute a statement or a block of statements. So, let us see how it works. So, here is a flowchart or graphical representation of the operation inside the if-elif statement. So, here is the sample problem or program in Python. So, we have two variables now in here. We have x with the value of 15 and y with the value of 12. Now, if we first start with x, so x is equal, so we have two equals, so ibig sabihin, kino-compare natin sila twice. So, is 15 equals 12? So, the answer is false. So, it will not print both are equal. It will now proceed to elif, to the next condition. So, now, class, we have x greater than y. So, again, mind you, class, the value of x is 15 and then the other is 12. Y is 12. So, the correct answer is yes, x is greater than y. So, it will print x is greater than y. So, it will no longer print the other condition in the else because it has already met the first condition na x is greater than y. So, ganun lang, class. Next naman is yung about repetition. So, I'm just going to read repetition and then I will attach a video discussion related kay YouTube. From YouTube. So, a repetition statement is used to repeat a group or block of programming instructions. In Python, we generally have two loops, repetitive statements, the for loop and while loop. You might ask where is do while. So, let me clarify this kasi sometimes when I talk on synchronous classes, it becomes too fast and that it might be misunderstood again. So again, we have only two in for loop and while loop as of, it is confirmed as of 2020. I cannot say for 3.10 and 3.11 version of Python. Pero we don't have do while loop. Okay? So we only acknowledge while loop and for loop. So, sa ating repetition or iterative statements in Python. Now, I'm recording this while I have to go and run some errand. So, I might just attach a video discussion from YouTube. So, I will now end the discussion from this one. I hope you learned something. And also, do not forget to check in the updates on our Google Classroom because I have already attached the related activities on our discussion for today or asynchronous discussion for today. So, meron po, paki-review po class yung discussion about sets and then control data structures. And then on our synchronous class, pero magpo-provide pa din ako ng pre-recorded, I will include the discussion on on linked list. Kasi there is a big or a huge difference between list and linked list. So, we're going to analyze that. So, paano ba siya i-code and paano i-analyze how each of the datas inside behaves inside a linked list in Python. Okay, so I will now end this pre-recorded video discussion.